This is an Lps beanie, and I've shown it to you before. You've seen it on photos in my story, and you've seen it on my eBay and my Facebook. Oh, you've seen it all over the place. And you've even seen it on Instagram. I'll just show you how to put on the hat. First, you put it around the ear. You slide it down so it fits on, nice and neat. And you hold it down in the center, and then you stretch it out so it goes right over the other ear. And all you're gonna do is pull it down a little so it's over the ear properly. And then you're going to pull down the other side. And today we're going to be making a replica of this beanie. This over here is 42 chains, and then I added an additional 4 chains to the end and made it 46 chains. This is because what I did, somewhere over here, we measured around the head. And then I added an additional 2 because you're going to be joining the 2 ends together, and those 2 will disappear. And the hat will become tighter, so if I went for the precise size, it would be too small. Slip down a little, but you understand the idea behind it. And then I chained an additional 2 chains, which is how we got to the 46. Because we're working in doubles, and the first 2 chains actually just disappear. Hello. I'm going to be taking off these little earrings now. You don't need them. You look gorgeous without them. Hello. What I did so far is I chained 46, and then I double crocheted into each chain. Obviously, I skipped the first 2 and then went into the 3rd chain, which is this chain over here. We're working around this curve over here. We're measuring from the forehead, and we're going for the top of the eye. And what we're doing is checking how much we need for the hat to work. And this is too small. This is because for the brim, we're going to be using 2 rows. The reason for this is because 1 row is folded up, and the other row is the one that the first row is folded up onto. For this way, we can push it down to the bottom of the eye, and we can see that 3 rows is not going to be enough. However, adding an additional row, making it 4, would be a perfect size for the forehead to the eyes. And we can do that with every single LPS that we want to make it for. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be crocheting and finishing this 3rd row. Then I will be moving on to the 4th row. And then I'll tell you what you can do if your LPS has ears and how to calculate that. Because what I'm not telling you is a pattern. I'm telling you, or teaching you rather, to think outside of the box, to use your brain and understand how this pattern works. Because it's lovely and nice if you can follow a pattern, but you're on top of the world if you can make one. You can crochet absolutely anything. If you want, you can make a little crocheted sofa, because the patterns aren't going to stop you from doing so, and tapestry crochet definitely is not stopping you at all from adding in all sorts of little designs and whatnots. But just because you can crochet it doesn't mean you should. I absolutely adore crocheting, but I would not crochet everything. That would be such a waste. And it would look so bad. Imagine living in a little crocheted house with all your crocheted items and you were out of crochet. Well, let's just say that would be very hectic. You can crochet everything, but you don't have to. It's a lovely, lovely artistic form. And what I was going to say originally is I got into it when I was 6 years old. I sat down with the elderly people. I remember the others thinking I was so weird because I didn't play with the children my age. I kind of just avoided them as they were. It's not because I didn't like them or anything, it's just I was forced to grow up a little faster than I intended on. And I guess that meant I matured before others did. I was around, I don't know, I think I was around 9 years old when I put down my very last child orientated book. And never again did I read another one. I was around 7 when I learned to read. So basically it took me 2 years of reading to realize this is not for me. I guess that never really entertained me. I did read a lot of crime though. A lot of crime. I remember really adoring Anne Cleves, and I don't know who else did I read. There was a book called Flesh and Bones, I think, and I adored that book. I read it over and over and over again, and like Matilda, the Roald Dahl character, I had every single Roald Dahl book. That was, I didn't read them, I just had a collection. I don't know, I guess that's just something about collectors. They're always collecting something. And my very first collection was books. Let me tell you, that's an expensive hobby. Especially if you want first editions or signed copies. I'd avoid that. If you think OPS are expensive, try collecting books. Anyway, we've reached the 4th row, so now we're going to be doing a little bit of math work. First, we're going to check whether our theory was correct. One folds on top of the other, and then, it reaches the top of the ear, the base of the ear, the top of the eye, and that is perfect. Now what we're going to be doing, I'm just going to make this lip a little larger. I don't trust myself. Now what we're going to be doing is estimating, trying to figure out how many spaces we need between the ears right now. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But because it's between the ears, it's going to shrink. So we're going to use 6. We're now going to be doing a little bit of calculating. I remembered we forgot to measure something. So we're going to measure how much you need for the ear hole. And I normally use 4 because it stretches. Or basically, if I were to be here and then stretch 4, that fits perfectly. And 5 would be too large. It will make sense when it'll make sense in a minute. I'm going to grab a paper, and call me a complete waster, but I really like folding my paper in half and using a little A5. Okay, so currently what we have is the top of the hat, and then we have a little brim. So this is the forehead piece, and this over here is the brim. This is 2 rows, and this is also 2. So this together is 4. If that makes sense, this is how we calculated the size. Because we went from... we're going to be drawing an Lps Beanie cat. How about that? Bear with me. That's just a little lower down. Oh god, look at that gorgeously awful drawing. And eyeballs. I have to make her cute. She's not cute, she's terrifying. Regardless, what we did is measure from the top of the head, or the base of the ear, to the top of the eye. This is the section we have, and then just bands around all the way the back of the head. That is what we made here. That is the 4. This is how you calculate it for every other petal that you want to do. And now I'm going to do a little bit of math. We calculated that this area over here would be 6. And then for the ears, oh, maybe I should use a different color. Let's go with green. And then for this area, which is it's the base of the ear, we calculated that 4 is enough, and we have 2 ears. Now, what we're gonna do is, we don't need you anymore, or you. What we're going to do is calculate how many more chains, or I'm sorry, not chain stitches we need. We have altogether 46 chains. However, 2 of those don't count. So what we really have is 44 chains. Because remember, the first 2 that we used was turned into a double crochet. So we have 44 chains, and then we have, that's the 6, because that's the part between the ears that we're calculating. And then it's a little plus sign. And we're going to be doing 4, which is this area, this little piece here. And that by 2, which would be 8. 6 plus 4 times 2, which is obviously 8, is 14 stitches. I don't know how the earring got here again. 1 second. It's stuck to the bottom of my finger. How does it do that all the time? Please leave. The bottom of the little stud came off. It's it wants to be with me forever and ever. I understand, but this is 14 and we're left with 30. Does that make sense? Do you want me to go through that as well? Ooh, look at that. Okay. And then what we do is we take this answer and we divide it by 2. And now is the time where I explain this calculation. So here's, please look. So here's a little rectangle that we already have with the brim included. And then what we're doing now is taking some piece and another piece, because this will be the area at the back which will connect. It is this part that we are now working on. The area that is this little part that is not the ear, but is not part of the ear. And then we will leave a little gap. My drawing is very not accurate, but this is a hole. It's the ear hole. For it to be more accurate, that would be like this size. Like that. And then this is the part between the ear. This part over here. These are all little stitches. Just imagine them being stitches. I am too lazy to draw on stitches. Ooh, stitches. Okay, you get the basic idea. So I forgot to calculate that, but I think it makes sense that it's 15. So now what we're actually doing is we're following this pattern over here. So this is 15, this is 4, 6, 4, 15. And if we add that together, then we get 44 stitches. I hope you understand the math behind this a little better, how it works. Tighten, and then what we're going to do is chain 2. And then we're just going to double crochet. But this time, unlike the other times when I didn't really count because it's just 1 in each, and if you go wrong, that's very visible. This time we're going to count, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now we're going to go back onto this little pattern. If you remember, this part is a hole, and to create that, we're going to chain 4. And then all we're going to do is wrap around. We're going to skip 4. And we have our little hole. Now something very important to remember is that this first double crochet counts as the very first piece of this in-between piece. So now we just need to do 5 more. This is 4. Like that. And then we're going to do another chain 4. We're going to wrap around. And do the same. At this point, if you're working with a different model than I am, you can try actually first make another double so it's secure in place and it won't come apart. But you can try it on. Does that fit the ear? Yes, it does. Does it fit the other ear? Yes, it does. Is that enough spaces between the ears? Yes, it is. And that's all it is. Now, we need to chain 15. We need to double crochet 15. 1 in each, obviously, like we've been doing this entire time. We're going to chain 2. I'm going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch. Let me explain the math between or behind that. If we were to just connect it now, this part of the head would be empty, but it does slide up a little, so a single layer is enough. I'm just going to do 1 more. We are almost complete. It's the same for the doubles, and then when you reach the ear hole, we do something a little different. And now, because we chained 4, we need to stitch inside 4. You could go inside the stitches, the actual chains, but I'm just going to go around it. I find it has a neater finish, and it doesn't pull as tight. This way the yarn stays more flexible. I might have overdone it. Yes, I did. Alright. That is 4. And then we're just going to do the same for this part. This is very basic and straightforward. As long as there's a double loop that you can go through, it's not a chain. Pay very close attention to the little V that forms. Form. Wow, look at you. You're almost done. Ta-da! There are quite a couple. It's quite loose. This is because we worked with the 1.2. If you want it tighter, you can downsize the crochet hook. Many different sizes exist. I normally use 0.7. Oh, sorry, upside down. I normally use 0.7 and 0.8 the most. I decided to use 1.2, but it's a little thicker. It feels more warm to some extent. What you're going to do is chain one, but you're not going to turn. Well, you could, but I don't really. What you're going to do is fold in half the beanie. Now is a very important time to check whether everything is symmetrical. It should perfectly line up with one another. Remove the tail. Now what we're going to be doing is going inside. Here's the little double crochet that we've been working with. And we're going to go between 2 double crochets. There we go, that's 2. Going to yarn over. Pull through 2. Each double crochet, we're going to do 2 of these. This is called a single crochet. There we go. The reason we do 2 is because we worked with doubles, which counts as 2 single crochets. We're going to go into the next one. And another one. We are now creating the binding of the hat. 1 and 2. Now we've gone through everything. What we're going to be doing is chaining. We're actually going to be fastening off. Going to leave a tail. This will be later on weaved in. Pull it out. Pull it tight. Oh, too tight. No. Okay, we're going to ignore. We're going to ignore that I pulled way too tight on this cotton. It's okay. Everything can be fixed. Here's what it looks so far. Don't worry, that will be fixed. Yes, 4 different sizes I use depending on what I am working with. Today we're going to be using this one. We're gonna be fixing my error. Here we are. Well done, me. What we're going to be doing is knotting it off. You don't have to do this. Originally, you just had to knot the 2 strands together. You would have been done, but I pulled too tight. I'm very strong, apparently. Regardless, you have to pull tight. The knot needs to stay there. I'm just going to be extra secure and do the 3rd one. Oh God. Let's try that again. There we go. Now we have 3 knots in. And we're just going to weave it in. Going to push it down. Don't cause any tensions in your furniture. It is very tightly. This is because I didn't do any loose stitching. And my hands are slippery. That's okay. Everything can be fixed. If your needle is struggling to go through, you can always try pushing it back and taking it out and going in smaller sections. This part doesn't really matter how messy you do it, because it will be the inside of the hat and none of it will be visible. I'm going to go a little bit more in. Okay. And now we're going to chip away. There we go. All gone. Those are my knots. What you would have had is 2 strands. Both of them would have been at the bottom. And all you would have had to do is tie them together. Then individually weave them in. Okay. We're going to be starting from the join. Going through both these. And then it's just an in and out motion all the way through. Don't be afraid to pull on it. Nothing will happen. And we have reached the very last part. Don't be fooled. The V is always there. You should be right next to the other one. And now all you're going to do is pull it. You're going to be tying together your 2 strands. I'm going to do that twice. And you're not done. Now we're going to be closing this hole. You're going to be poking your needle through one end and out the other. Oh, what happened to you? I seem to have missed a video. The hole is gone. It's working back the yarn so that it meets with the other one. Here they are next to each other. And now I'm just going to tie one knot. And a second. And now I'm just going to work it in. We've noticed so many times it doesn't really matter how much you weave it. I'm just doing a little. And snipping off the end. Onto this end. This one is connected to the ball of yarn, or skein, I don't know. And we're doing the same thing. We're just weaving it in. And then we flip the hat inside out. This is what you should be left with. You're going to put this. I'm sorry. I'm going to put this on Rosalia. There you have it. Thank you for doing some math with me. Looking at my weird doodles, and most certainly staying till the end. A session cannot end without tidying up. So this is what we will be doing. We'll be taking off this hat now. Thank you for staying with me. Have a lovely rest of your day.